Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the January 22nd edition of Carolina Week.
I'm Carla Babb. The House is making lots of changes on Capitol Hill. I'll take a look at Congressman Brad Miller's plans for North Carolina.
A debate about sidewalks has residents of one Chapel Hill neighborhood split.
Coming up in sports, find out why this shot was not just another drop in the bucket.
Laura Pagano will have your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and how to lose those holiday pounds. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Alex Villarreal.
And I'm Adam Rue. We continue our four-part Carolina at the Capitol series this week with a focus on Congressman Brad Miller. Reporter Carla Babb is in the studio to tell us what another one of our U.S. congressmen has planned for the new term. Carla?
Thanks, Adam. The United States House of Representatives is passing new legislation left and right on Capitol Hill. With House Democrats propelling their new 100-hour agenda forward, our Triangle representatives are working hard to be a part of the action.
Representative Brad Miller of North Carolina's 13th District says he wants big changes this term. Miller plans to personally champion a bill protecting family mortgage loans. He believes that the process for borrowing money against one's home should be more fair in case of a rainy day.
If somebody in the family got sick, the house needed repair, someone lost their job, they got in over their heads in credit card debt and needed to borrow money against their home to get back even. And too many people in that circumstance are having their trust betrayed and having a big piece of the equity they've built in their home, their life savings, taken from them unfairly.
As a member of the Science Committee, Congressman Miller wants to pass a repeal on some of the tax breaks and subsidies given to big oil companies. These subsidies will in turn fund biofuel research.
We need to do something about our oil dependence. We talk about it, but there are things that we can do that are available to us right now that we're not doing.
Miller says that without these subsidies, oil companies will need to increase drilling to maintain their current profits. This increase in oil supply will likely bring prices down at the pump. Miller also wants to decrease the national debt by having the government spend only money that's in the budget. This philosophy is known on Capitol Hill as PAYGO, or pay as you go.
Now we've got a deficit or a debt of like $8.7 trillion. Every person's share of it's around $29,000. So we've got to get a handle on deficit spending. And pay-as-you-go budget rules are a way to force Congress to have the discipline to do it.
Miller tells me he has no doubt about his legislation's success because of his majority party status.
I feel pretty confident that the House will vote through all the things that are in that 100 hours agenda.
How does it feel to be the majority party now?
I think when I had my first committee meeting and looked back and realized that that's my guy, the Democrat with the gavel, I will truly realize. And when we are able to put together legislation and we're not doing it just to make a point, but actually to change the law, then that I think is going to be a real change.
Congressman Miller was very excited to talk to Carolina Week about his plans this term and has agreed to keep us updated about his goals to improve North Carolina life. From the studio, I'm Carla Babb, Carolina Week.
Thanks, Carla. Carolina Week will continue its coverage Wednesday with a look at Senator Richard Burr.
Duke lacrosse players Colin Finnerty and Reed Seligman are back in school, but not everyone in Blue Devil country is excited about their return. English professor Carla Holloway resigned from a campus cultural committee because of it. The group was looking into ways Duke could teach students about responsibility and respect in light of the recent lacrosse incident. In a letter, she called the reinstatement a clear use of corporate power. She said she could no longer serve because of what she referred to as a breach of common trust. Only 4 weeks into the new year, and there have already been positive tests for rabies in Chapel Hill. A rabid fox attacked a man at the corner of South Columbia and Chase recently. The county animal services director says his organization is investigating and doing surveillance to monitor rabies cases. He says low-cost rabies vaccinations are offered to help protect Chapel Hill's residents and their pets.
A popular Chapel Hill bar and restaurant's sign has gone missing. Someone stole La Residence's front sign recently after the bar closed for business. The painted wooden sign was worth more than $3,000. People driving down Rosemary Street will now see a temporary sign replacing the stolen one. La Res is offering a reward for any information that helps get the sign back.
If you're driving to UNC, you'll probably have trouble finding a place to park, and the number of available spaces will shrink as the campus continues to grow. Construction work near Haynes Hall has taken up at least 5 spaces, and 70 spaces are blocked near Swain Hall's visitors lot. Fewer cars means the campus will be more pedestrian-friendly, but may cause employees and students to rely on city buses to get from place to place. Parking is an even bigger problem on game days. Many students are happy when a class is canceled, but not this time. The class, designed by AAA of the Carolinas and County DA Jim Woodall, was for students convicted of jaywalking on campus. Jaywalkers could sign up for the $45 class and have their charges dismissed. Organizers scheduled the class for Saturday morning in the Student Union, but anyone trying to attend found the lights off and the door locked. The union didn't even have the class on its schedule of daily events.
You can get to Chapel Hill's North Side community by car or by bus. But if you're planning to get there by foot, you'll have to walk in the street. Tonight, the Chapel Hill Town Council will discuss a plan that calls for sidewalks in the neighborhood, and some neighbors aren't happy about it. North Side isn't like other parts of Chapel Hill. No million-dollar houses, no Carolina blue street signs, and no sidewalks, at least for now. The town's long-range planner, David Bonk, says the goal is for every street to be pedestrian-friendly.
The council, in general, has been very supportive of providing for better pedestrian and bicycle facilities throughout town.
So the town spent nearly 2 years looking at ways to improve conditions in North Side, located just off West Rosemary Street. North Side residents agree with most points of the plan, but not about the issue of sidewalks on North Graham Street. Resident Dolores Bailey says sidewalks would be problematic.
And what that does is brings the street that much closer to my front door. They're already small yards.
Town Planning Board Chair and former North Side resident Ruby Sinreich says walkways would help, not hurt.
Communities are healthier because when people aren't in their cars, they're actually out in the street, interacting with each other, getting to know their neighbors, and building social capital.
Tonight, council members have 3 options. The first would call for a sidewalk to be built on one side of North Graham Street entirely in the existing roadway. Option 2 puts a sidewalk halfway in the street and halfway in residents' front yards. The final plan would mean no sidewalks. Regardless of what happens tonight, Bonk says no one will be building sidewalks in North Side anytime soon.
When they're actually built, if they're ever built, becomes more of an issue of a year-to-year decision that the council will make.
Our sources at Town Hall say it's likely the council will vote to put in sidewalks, but don't know when the work might begin.
Next on Carolina Week, we'll have the story of a local woman's battle with HIV.
And the terrible toll the disease has already inflicted on her family.
Hey man, what's up?
Not a whole lot, man. Just waiting on the bus. How about you?
But you got your bike.
Yeah, so?
How you can do that?
Oh, you can put your bike on the bus. It's easy. I'll show you how.
Oh.
First, pull the rack down. Then, just lift your bike and place the tires in the rack. Finally, lift the lever and snap it into place to hold your bike securely. Chapel Hill Transit, working for you. Awaken your creativity. Do your thing at the Art School at the Art Center in Carborough.
Each year, according to the Centers for Disease Control, 40,000 people in the U.S. get HIV, and a growing number of the newly infected are Latinos. I spoke with one local woman who has a tough message to share.
You are positive.
Rosa Munoz will never forget the day those 3 words changed her life.
The only thing it was in my mind is, I'm gonna die. It can happen to me. I'm gonna die. No, this is a lie.
It wasn't a lie. 52-year-old Munoz is HIV positive. 14 years later, living with the disease hasn't gotten any easier.
It's a lonely disease, period. You can have 1,000 people around you and still feeling lonely.
Munoz doesn't know how she got infected. Growing up in Puerto Rico, she was a drug addict by age 12. At 22, already a mother of 3, she began paying for the drugs with prostitution.
I felt like nobody loved me, and that was all the time. So I got refuge on the drugs.
Since 1993, when Munoz learned she had HIV, the number of infected Latinos has steadily increased. In 2004, Latinos made up 18% of new HIV diagnoses, even though they're only 14% of the U.S. population. In 2002, HIV/AIDS was the 3rd leading cause of death among Latino men aged 35 to 44, and the 4th leading cause of death among Latina women in the same age group. And UNC clinician Lisa Haito says she's seen a troubling trend among local Latinos.
In North Carolina, the largest risk factor for being diagnosed with AIDS at the time that you're tested for HIV is being Latino.
This form here is all in Spanish.
Haito says this problem of late diagnosis comes from the barriers Latinos face just to get tested. These include immigration status, fear of deportation, insurance status, transportation, lack of childcare, and conflict between clinic hours and working hours. Latino coordinator at the Alliance of AIDS Services Carolina, Leon Padilla, says the culture breeds other barriers to testing, including denial, common among Latina women.
When we go to places or to homes or to apartments to do the test, that wives comes to the door and they say to us, no, I don't need to get tested because I am married.
Munoz cautions women who think they're safe because they're married.
You don't know what your man doing when he locked the door and go to work.
Munoz says Latinos must break through denial and taboos to stop the spread of HIV.
We are very private people. My business is not your business. But when we're talking about HIV and AIDS and many other venereal disease, STD disease out there, my business is your business.
Her message is simple.
Go and get the test. Don't be scared. If you're scared because you think they're going to be positive, it's better to get positive on time so you can be treated than when you open your eyes, you bury your husband, and he left you with a disease.
Munoz knows what it's like to lose a loved one to AIDS. Her oldest daughter, Raquel, found out she had HIV in 1995. She died 1 year later.
UNC now has a new sorority on campus. Delta Phi Omega is the first South Asian sorority at UNC. The founding women presented the sorority's objectives to a packed crowd of students on Thursday night. The Greek Alliance Council reviewed their work and then voted to grant them official status. Council President Dina Hayes says the sorority will help promote diversity on campus.
They'll help the Greek community by giving a voice to the South Asian women that did not have a voice in the Greek community previously, and being in those leadership roles to show them that it's possible.
We hear a lot about sorority rush, but the guys aren't about to be outdone. Hundreds of guys flooded into these fraternity houses through the weekend for spring rush. The 22 campus fraternities gave out more than 100 bids to prospective new members. A bid is a formal invitation to join a fraternity. UNC senior Bo Caudle is in charge of rush for Pi Lambda Phi. He says men join fraternities for many reasons.
Those interested in it are interested in being a part of the community, philanthropy events, social events, meeting a large group of people, being networked into a large group of people.
Monday marked the start of the 2-month pledge process when the new members learn what it means to be fraternity brothers.
Do you find yourself searching the web for fresh new music? Well, the new site iJake.com lets users listen to tunes they can't find anywhere else. 3 UNC students designed the site to let hidden talents and small bands such as local band Violet Vector and the Lovely Ladies post their music. Users can listen to and rate the music for free. Band member Kathleen Kaiser says it's free marketing for the music groups.
When you're exposed, you're more likely to go see their shows. You're more likely to, see what else that band is doing and have a higher chance, I think, of purchasing, an album.
Check out iJig by clicking on our website, carolinaweek.org.
And we're joined now by weathercaster Laura Pagano. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Hi, Laura. How's it going? So can you tell us about what is this cold, wet weather we're seeing?
I know, it has been pretty chilly and temperatures are slightly below normal. And speaking of temperatures, this time last week, our high was 70 degrees. Since then, we've had snow, sleet, and snow. Will this puddle dry up, or will students keep walking past their reflection? I'll let you know when we come back.
Hear that? How could I not? They can't be serious. This is their third party this week, and I have a test tomorrow.
Yeah, and they blocked me in. Again! Let's party!
It's about time, you guys. Anything left in here? I bet they're gonna leave their garbage out again. They do this every time when they have friends over.
It's important to be considerate of others who live close to you. You wouldn't want neighbors like these. Make sure to control your garbage, obey Chapel Hill noise ordinances, park only in your driveway or other designated areas, obey all alcohol laws, and remember, we're all living in this community together, so be a good neighbor.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weather forecaster Laura Pagano. Well, this past weekend, we've had some sun and we've had some showers and some sleet. So it's been pretty chilly the last couple of days. And we are going to have a drying out phase finally for the week to come. We will see a few showers, but they won't be dominant. And any wintry mix headed our way, I'll let you know in the next few slides. Let's take a look at the U.S. satellite and radar picture. We do have predominantly sunny skies in the central U.S. If we look towards our north, we see that we do have some precipitation near Pennsylvania into New York. But towards our south, this was the area of precipitation that affected our weather this past weekend, making it a little wintry, maybe into Virginia, but not quite into the Raleigh-Durham area. So let's zoom closer into Raleigh. We do see that Greensboro, Durham, and Raleigh mainly clear right now. We do have some clouds. As for the most of North Carolina, but towards our south into Columbia and Charleston, they're still seeing some showers, and that will be moving in the next 24 to 36 hours. So if we take a look at the surface map, we do see that predominantly high pressure is dominating most of the U.S., but we do still have that low pressure system sitting right towards the east, and that will be making its way toward the southeast, which means we're going to have clear skies for the next couple of days at least. Taking a look at Tuesday, that high pressure system is just making its way towards the east, which is a good indicator that we are going to see beautiful conditions in the next couple of days, and it's going to be looking great. So if you want to head outdoors to some sports or go take a jog, now would be the time to do it. And looking into Wednesday, high pressure still moving towards the east, beautiful conditions, and looking out towards the west, we do see some precipitation into Texas, might be moving our way. So looking into Tuesday, highs around 50, which is absolutely normal for January. Beautiful conditions. Wednesday, we're going to be seeing some precipitation into Thursday. But then by Friday, we're going to be seeing that everything's clearing up. Temperatures are going to be slightly below normal. But other than that, I have to say this coming up week's going to be absolutely beautiful compared to what we've seen.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to that sun coming back out.
Oh, me too.
Thanks, Laura.
It isn't every day ESPN comes to campus. The cable network aired College Game Day from the Dean Dome on Saturday. Hundreds of fans showed up to be on TV, while the cast and crew broadcast live before and during the game. Announcing legend Dickie V felt at home, while Duke boy Jay Billis looked unamused. The Game Day cast was filled with celebrities, but it was a fan who stole the show. Freshman Alex Bloom sank a half-court shot on national television, wearing Crocs shoes and a Tar Heel toga.
It's
pretty nervous going in. Knees were shaking, palms were sweaty a little bit, but didn't think it was going in. Thought left it a little short, but when it went in, pretty surprised.
As fellow fans cheered him on, Bloom showed the world that Tar Heel spirit really pays off.
And we're joined now by sportscaster Deshaun Brown, and sports fans have had a lot of opportunities this week, Deshaun, to show that spirit.
Absolutely, lots of events right here at home. I don't know if he'll live up to Alex Bloom, but I'm sure there are some exciting things. Coming up in sports, last year's 40-point performance against Georgia Tech served as Tyler Hansbrough's coming-out party. What would the sophomore stud do for an encore against the Yellow Jackets? We'll have the highlights coming up next.
There is really only one boy. One girl. One tree. One forest. One deep, dancing ocean. One mountain calling. One handful of sand through our fingers. One endless sky overhead. And one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, EarthShare. One environment, one simple way to care for it.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Deshaun Brown. Just think of me as the female Brandon Curry, a more attractive female Brandon Curry. The women's basketball team went head-to-head with the NC State Wolfpack Sunday afternoon. The Pack showed up hungry for a win, leading the Heels in the first half. But soon the State players found they were going to be in for a fight to get around the Tar Heel defense. The Heels pulled it together as halftime approached and took the lead. Rashonda McCants got the Heels off to a strong second half with this three-pointer. They took that momentum and dominated during the second half. The ladies couldn't help but be in good spirits after a 21-point victory. Head coach Sylvia Hatchell has known all along her Heels are a force to be reckoned with.
I love it when other teams come in here and practice 2 hours. Because they just getting a little tired for us.
Ivory Ladd is showing no signs of fatigue. This three-pointer marked her 2,000th point at Carolina, a number only 5 other Tar Heel women have reached. Speaking of numbers, Saturday, UNC looked to earn win number 1,900. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets stood in their way. Rayshon Terry had a great night here, going underneath to score. He had a season-high 16 points and helped stretch Tech's D with three-pointers like this. Speaking of defense, the Heels held the Yellow Jackets to a season-low 61 points with defensive stops like this. Watch out, Ty Lawson, those fouls can hurt. But it was Tyler Hansbrough who was fouled constantly and made 14 of 15 free throws, 24 points on the night. After the game, Coach Williams talked about this guy, Marcus Ginyard, an unsung hero and leader of the team.
Marcus is the kind of youngster that everybody in here could say, would you watch my grandchildren for the next 4 hours and you'd be as comfortable as you could possibly be. And when I grow up, I'd like to be like Marcus.
Weekend action continues with the JV basketball team trying to keep an undefeated record, taking on Asbury College. Heels working the perimeter. Charles McDonald looks for room, gives it to J.B. Tanner, and he sends it up for the easy three. Here's Jack Wooden looking to take it in for 2, but why do that when you can get another three-pointer? Tanner looks for the layup, dumps it off to James Gallagher. Ugly shot, but it gets the 2. The Heels go on to win 90-63. It doesn't matter which sport Carolina is playing. A game against Duke or State is enough to make any Tar Heel fan's blood boil. Friday's wrestling match against State was no different. For the first 6 matches, Carolina and State seesawed back and forth with wins. Some impressive slams from both sides, but the biggest win came from State's heavyweight Palma, who upset 8th in the nation, Spencer Nadolski. Look at the big guy go. It all came down to UNC junior Drew Forshey, who beat NC State's Taylor Cummings in the final bouts of the night. And looks like he hurt him there too. UNC moved on with a 1-1 conference record and prepared for Navy. Looking to improve to 500 for the season, 22nd ranked Navy jumped out to a quick lead with a victory in the 157-pound weight class. Carolina rallied after Dennis Drury defeated Navy's Tyler Moyer. However, both of Carolina's top 10 ranked wrestlers, heavyweight Spencer Nadolski and 133-pound Evan Sola, struggled. This pin gave Navy the lead for good. Carolina falls 25-9 and is now 4-6. Navy might have sunk the heels on the wrestling mat, but the swim and dive team traveled to Virginia, hoping to blow the Cavaliers out of the water. The women's team crushed UVA, winning 11 of the 16 events on Saturday, taking the 182-118 victory. The men weren't quite as successful, narrowly falling 161-137, despite capturing seven of the 16 events. The women's gymnastics team was also out of town during the weekend, competing in our nation's capital. UNC squeaked by the GW Colonials by a little more than half a point. The Heels had no trouble breezing by Cornell and William & Mary. Their record is now 4-0 for the season.
Deshaun, thanks very much.
As you guys can see, a packed weekend in sports, and this week a bit of a break. The JV will hit the court tomorrow in the Smith Center, and then back to action for the weekend.
Great. Deshaun Brown, thanks.
Well, the weather might be brutal now, but spring break will be here before we know it.
Coming up, do you feel like you have to look buff like Arnold to be ready for the fun and sun? More when we come back.
The Ronald McDonald House is a nonprofit organization that provides a home away from home for families of children being treated at UNC hospitals. Since opening in 1988, the house has welcomed more than 1,000 families each year to stay at this safe haven. The house relies heavily on community support. How can you help? Become a volunteer. Help the house that love built. The Ronald McDonald House, the house with a heart.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Many of us put on a few pounds during the holiday break.
Angela Watson tells us that's why many students are taking extra measures to get their bodies slim and in shape before spring break.
If you look into the average college student's refrigerator, you probably won't see this. Tofu, yogurt, and healthy dinners aren't favorites among young adults, but with less than 2 months before spring break, college students are eating better and hitting the gym more than ever. Some students, like UNC senior Kristen McKnight, make their visits to the gym fun by inviting friends.
And actually working out a schedule with my friends where we're each in charge of a day to make the other people go. So I'll be in charge of like Mondays and Thursdays, and I'm going to be forcing other people to come work out with me.
Like many students, McKnight gained a few pounds during the holidays.
Well, I have to say I did eat a lot of sweets, and I did travel a lot, so just sitting in a car for long periods and being on vacation, you know, you don't have a lot of time to work out.
So what can you do to get fit and stay healthy? You can start by avoiding fatty foods like cookies and sugary soft drinks. Instead, grab a tall glass of water to quench your thirst. Stay away from beverages with empty calories like beer and mixed drinks, and do plenty of cardio to stay lean and fit. With a healthy diet and active lifestyle, you'll be well on your way to sculpting an ideal body in time for your spring break cruise or trip to the beach. In Chapel Hill, I'm Angela Watson, Carolina Week.
For this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks so much for watching. Good night.